Hello viewers, welcome to this special bulletin. We are here happy to share this absolutely exciting news of flamingos, the lovely pink birds, returning to Kharghar
Yeah,
after more than 1,000 days. So this is a very welcome development from the environment, bird lovers, environment lovers point of view. So we are here to discuss the importance of the flamingos and of course the ongoing destruction non-stop in Kharghar node. Kharghar, to give you a line of introduction for people from outside Navi Mumbai, Kharghar is a node, is a developing township in Navi Mumbai, and it's being developed by SIDCO. It falls under Raigad district, Panvel Taluka, and more importantly, Kharghar is the education capital of Navi Mumbai, where you see a lot of education institutions flourishing, and students from all across Maharashtra, even from all over India, from outside Maharashtra, come here to learn, educate themselves. In this capital of education, it's very nice to see, a semblance of environment still surviving, but it is under grave threat. To start with, let me bring in Naresh Chandra ji. Naresh ji, yesterday, you gentlemen and ladies, of course, noticed flamingos. Where did you notice and how it all happened? Naresh ji.
Yeah, so in the afternoon, one of our active members of our group, of Kharghar wetland team, noticed the flamingos on one of the largest wetland of Kharghar called Sector 17 wetland. Okay, this is a wetland that is like it is part of the National Wetland Inventory also. So from that perspective, it is a well acclaimed wetland of Kharghar, I would say. Okay. So in the afternoon, there was a message from one of the members that they have seen flamingos. So it really the message spread like wildfire, and many birders and also walkers and other people just converged on the spot to see and witness for themselves the beauty of the flamingos, enjoying the time in this beautiful wetland. And also the flamingos, the type of flamingo that was there was very highly matured adult of it was so beautiful.
How many Tarang? Tarang,
yes,
you're an IIT student. You have been
yes,
observing the wildlife nature there in Kharghar for quite some time. You're doing a lot of research also.
yes.
Tell us, share your experiences.
So in the past 3 years, I've done birding a lot in Kharghar. In the Kharghar wetlands, I've documented 150 species of birds.
Okay.
So some of them are migratory, some of them are resident. The migratory come from as far as Arctic Circle region, and the residents even breed here. So and they breed on the mangroves. That's the nesting site. So it is important to protect the mangroves and intertidal areas. And I've seen golden jackals also here. I documented them, and I've explored the hills also. So it's an interconnected habitat. All the wetlands are interconnected, and it is important to maintain the water flow everywhere.
As Naresh and Tarang were there, so fortunately he immediately informed me, and I quickly rushed to the spot to see them. In fact, in the morning only, I spoke to Virendra ji, and I mentioned that the last we saw the flamingos, me and Naresh, on 11th November 2018.
Just one second. For the viewers who do not know who Virendra ji is, Mr. Virendra Tiwari is Mangrove Foundation's executive director.
Okay. Yes, right. Yeah. So as you know that we are all very concerned about the security of the place and the birds. So on and off, I'm in touch with him and of course all the members to get those things done fast as possible. So morning only I spoke to him and I mentioned that we haven't seen this greater flamingos after 2018, because since 2019 and 20, due to the destruction of the spot where these were, they used to land and they used to like that place because there are certain characteristics and habitat formations what they like. The feeding habit, the feed what is required for greater and lesser is comparatively two different things.
Okay.
So that is why in Kharghar specifically, you don't see lesser. You see greater ones because of the feed which is required is found for them and the conditions of the habitat. And since 2018, we couldn't see them. So I just mentioned that an evening I got the message from Naresh that they have landed.
Okay.
So it was quite a favorable condition and a good news for us that it seems that things are working on right. So we need to work on the preservation and restoration of that place so that it doesn't destroy and they don't, go on searching for other places whereby now we see the shortage of habitats everywhere due to the massive destruction which is which is going around.
Kanchanji, you have been observing flamingos from your balcony in NRI and TSC Chanakya wetlands.
Yes, I have been for years. And all of last year, there has not been a single flamingo coming there because of the water flow is blocked with concrete debris and plastics and, bundles of, sort of boulders of concrete bags and things like that. It's been blocked and the high tide, low tide thing is not happening. And because of that, there has not been a single flamingo till date. Besides the two portions are being given out or they have been claimed as for commercial fishing. Yeah.
Mr. Nandakumar Pawar, please come in. Mr. Pawar, as most of us know, has been campaigning to save mangroves, wetlands, and the flora and fauna of MMR area. So, Mr. Pawar, from your experience, what is the importance of this intertidal water, as Kanchan was mentioning, in preserving, in saving mangroves as well as the flora and fauna and the flamingos? Mr. Pawar.
Thank you, NatConnect, B N Kumar and all friends. It's very pleasant to watch birds, especially flamingos. It's really a treat. And what is our current priority is to protect their habitat. And what is matter of concern for all of us is the destruction of their habitat happening. And you also aware of the fact the mood of the authority, their statements and their efforts to protect these wetlands or their habitat. Now, as you have questioned me that what is the significance of mangroves and the intertidal area for the flamingos, we are discussing, I think, mostly flamingos, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So flamingo basically large bird, and they need open space, open mud flat to land, because on this spot they can't take off or land. They need some space. So what happens nowadays? The reclamation is happening everywhere. In Bhandup, I tell you, there were 10 ponds where flamingos used to roost and feed during high tide time. Whenever there is high tide in a creek, the water level goes up, and those water level are not they are comfortable with. They have to migrate to this wetland area along the Thane Creek. There is only single pond has been left. The rest of the ponds, at least 10 acres each, size of the pond I'm mentioning. Most of the pond have been covered with the mangroves. What we used to see earlier, the all pond used to fill up with the mangroves. Sorry, flamingos. Only flamingos. Now there is hardly any flamingo because their habitat is lost. Only one pond has been left in Thane Creek, that is pond number 1. That we are trying to save, keep safe from the any encroachment or anything.
I think last year onward, I don't know what has happened. The number of flamingos have come down. But to my surprise, last Sunday or almost 10 days back, I saw too many of these painted stocks actually. It's good to see that lots of painted stocks are actually coming in a good number here.
Okay.
And just my last point on what Tarang mentioned on the golden jackal, I mean, that's something I'll be very curious to see, I mean, where it is, and we should see that, we kind of protect their habitat. Yeah.
They have been noticed in Kharghar. In fact, Tarang himself has taken the pictures and we carried them in the media last year. So they were seen near Kharghar in sector 16, I think, Tarang?
Yes, sector 16, 17. Yeah.
Nareshji,
Yeah.
Let's get back to the threats that the nature is facing in Kharghar, the destruction of wetlands and mangroves. You have been complaining to the authorities, but yet nothing is happening. Let's have your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so Kumarji, there are, I think, different types of threats to the wetlands. One is obviously, the very, very big powers, the agencies like CITCO, builders, they're extremely powerful people, like, with a lot of political support behind them, right? And given the fact that Kharghar is a very newly developing city, which unfortunately now belongs to, I would say, a second tier or a third tier corporation like Panvel Municipal Corporation, which is, I wouldn't, kind of put it in a very, raw way, but the administration in Panvel just does not have the vision, right? They just don't have the mindset for seeing the way, modern people see sustainability and environment, biodiversity is value, right? So in such context, we are working with people who are extremely powerful, who have got a lot of money, and they will do things, visibly and invisibly to kind of do away with this wetland so that they can, come use it commercially. That's number one biggest threat. The second threat, I think, second and third are more local threats. Okay, the second threat is basically about the people who are carelessly kind of treating these wetlands for their dumping purposes. A lot of building construction happening all around, and you see this debris. There's no place to dump this debris anymore these days. So it becomes a very very easy way to look at these wetlands, which are very, very remote in their nature, to just dump their stuff there. So they also play into the hands of these big corporations and builders, because we help them, because they then fill up those, then they become developable in the future. Okay. The third, and I think this is easily addressable if we all put our heads together, is the local fishermen. Okay, so the local fishermen, I think, are again, becoming, unfortunately, becoming a threat. Okay, so what I mean by that is, there are different types of fishermen. Fishermen who are like, from in the villages, who just kind of do fishing for their daily livelihood. They are like less threat. I mean, they go the day and then they fish and then sell it and earn their living from them. They are less threat. But the other type of fishermen is the big ones, and I think they have got contacts with the politicians and others, and they seem to have got kind of in contract these wetlands in different, they have been I think divided into different areas and have been contracted with these big fishermen. So these type of fishermen are not doing natural local fishing methods. They are going after kind of doing basic cultural fish culture, prawn culture, and to the extent of even bringing machineries inside that to do highly extensive kind of very, very invasive type of fishing. We need to have a sustainable fishing, which is very, very high value rather than low value, we need to reach out to the fishermen that we want good fish, but not by destroying the nature. The fish and the birds, they live, coexist, and it's like good for both, right? To that they exist together. Without the other, I think the value of that particular species that remains becomes low. So therefore, I do think we need to reach out to the fishermen community. And also, kind of, talk through them that it's not just fishing. You can do other activities also, because fishing is like not a 365-day activity. There are some months where it's low, where it breeds also, where you have to breed. So I think there are tourism activity, there are birding activity which they can do. I think Jyoti herself took to talk to one of them regarding this. I think we need to do this more aggressively going forward. And Nanda Kumarji, being a fisherman, not fisherman, but from that community, can help us, reaching out to those people and not really make them also see that we are not like their enemies, right? We want to exist, in a friendly manner that is good for all of us.
We can make the locals as tourist guides, you know, as bird guides.
Yeah.
Correct. Very good solution.
We'll do that. Ms. Pawar, you know, the government has this blue economy and mangrove-based economy and various schemes. But unfortunately, as far as we see in either Uran or Kharghar, other parts of Navi Mumbai, we don't see these government schemes, you know, being implemented or executed. Or most of the local communities also are not aware of it. You know, we have been raising this with authorities. Please share your thoughts, Mr. Pawar.
Yeah. First of all, I would like to reply to Mr. Naresh Chandra Singh that whatever he has been mentioning. Hello?
Yes.
Yes, we're listening.
Yeah. The problem which have been created not by the fishermen, I mean traditional fishermen. The problem has been created by the vested interest. They are the anti-social elements. They no longer should be treated as a fisherman. Let me clear that. And normal fishermen are normal human beings. They have nothing to do. They go for fishing on daily basis. They catch their daily catch and sell it in the market, and some of it he keeps for his own consumption. The problems are created by the local vested interests. These class of fishermen are not fishermen because they have a certain motto in their mind to capture land. Okay, and as you mentioned, the no fish breeding activity should be carried out commercially into the other area. So ponds are real threat, and ponds are maintained by big guns or political backguns or their supporters, which need lot of funds to invest. And this class of fishermen cannot be treated as a traditional fisherman. And traditional fisherman doesn't have any nuisance value. They do their business on normal basis, but these are people with vested interest are creating problem for us. They're
Just
blocking
one
water.
question, Pawarji, one question. When these get converted to personal ponds, then the local fishermen, do they still have access to it?
Not at all. That is my point.
This is a very, very risk to them. Then their livelihood is also being stolen by big guys.
Yes,
shouldn't we then reach out to them? They should also work with us then.
Definitely. See, this is very, very what you call. There are many illegalities happening in this area also. The pond which prepared by some locals, powerful locals, they're not allowing other community to come and fish, and they do it on commercial basis. Okay. The normal fishermen are not entertained there.
No, Naresh has hit the nail on the head. He has rightly identified the three problems. But what happens is the people involvement, I feel, should be increased.
Yes.
I know there are challenges. It is a challenging thing, but there are some ways and means of trying to bring in more people.
Yes.
See, yesterday when I saw this flamingos, I immediately send all the photographs and location to most of my groups. Many people have asked me, where is it in Kharghar? Some people even don't know that there is a creek along the Kharghar side, one of the sides of Kharghar, east side of Kharghar.
Yes.
So at least they come to know, they now appreciate that flamingos are coming after 3-4 years to Kharghar, and they are all lovers of environment, may not be bird watchers.
Yes.
Okay. But this sort of awareness we should promote. In my opinion, actually the wetlands or the area where we can walk and take photographs, that should be developed as a tourist place.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your brilliant thoughts on the issue of protecting the mangroves, the wetlands, and the flora and fauna. We are focused on Kharghar. Fortunately for us, the Chief Minister has responded very quickly. He asked the Forest Secretary to look into the matter. I had a little chat with the collector. He asked the SDO. Hopefully, within the next week or so, we'll be seeing some action. We'll keep pursuing through the other means that are available to us, through the mails, through the Twitters, through the Right to Information Act tool. So we'll keep pursuing it. Thank you very much. We'll keep pursuing this. Finally, one word for the viewers who are not on the show. Please support our campaign. #OurCity, Our Duty. #OurCity, Our Duty. It is our city. It is our duty to protect the environment Naresh ji has been saying that it takes millions of years for the nature to form. I have read somewhere mangroves were first seen 144 million years ago, and they were found in India, Indo-Malaysian region. That's where the mangroves were first found. So it is our duty, bounden duty, to preserve them, conserve them, not only for us, but for the future generation. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.